The concept of making this recipe went viral a while back, and I just had to make it, and I did, and I posted it on my reels, but I've not done a video on it yet. What's so great about this is that you can make this your own. You can add whatever you would like to inside of those tortilla shells. That's exactly what I did, and my husband and I love this recipe. I've made it before and I'm going to make it again. So let's go ahead and get started on this. We're going to start off with 1 pound of ground turkey, or you can use ground beef, whichever. Once I got this partially cooked and scrambled, I went ahead and I drained all the fat off of it. I like to rinse it as well. You don't have to do that. You do you, but you do want to make sure all the fat is off of it. And ground turkey does have a little fat in it. And then I'm going to add my taco seasoning mix to this, 1 packet of taco seasoning mix. And I like to add just maybe a couple of tablespoons of water to this because I still want to cook this a little bit longer and I do not want it to get dried out. I like to put my taco seasoning mixture in with my meat when I'm cooking it, especially if you're using ground turkey, because ground turkey really doesn't have a lot of flavor. You have to add to it to make it taste great. While we're letting that finish up, we're going to go ahead and assemble our tortillas. We'll need a baking sheet, and go ahead and just put some olive oil on that. And I like to use a paper towel and just make sure you oil that down. You do want to make sure that's oiled really well because you don't want it to stick to that baking pan. And then I'm using the low carb tortillas. You can get these at Walmart. You can get these at Publix. And Walmart's the cheapest, I will say that on these, but they only have 4 grams of carbs, so that's great. Now we are going to assemble this. So the first thing you're going to do is just lay your tortillas around. It's honestly like a flower shape. And you want them to overlap, just like this. And then you'll put one in the middle. And if you're following me, we're going to add our taco meat. You want to make sure to put this in the middle because we are going to overlap the outer edges. Add 1 cup of pinto beans. I had some canned pinto beans and I just rinsed and drained them. You could always use leftover pinto beans for this as well. Now we are going to top those pinto beans with some sweet corn, and I'm using this frozen sweet corn from Kroger's. You will want to put that in the microwave for 1 minute to unthaw that corn. Top this with some shredded cheddar cheese, and I used about a cup. Lay 1 whole tortilla right in the middle of this. At this point, I had to move my tray for a moment, so my tray did get turned around, just in case you're wondering. I basted this tortilla shell in the middle with some olive oil. Then you're going to fold up the flaps. And that oil that we just put on there is going to help that stick better. You want to try to seal all the edges so that none of the liquid or anything seeps out, but it's going to happen because it happened to me the first time and it happened this time as well. So, yeah, maybe that just takes practice, but it still turned out great. And then I took my olive oil and I just painted that all over it. And you want to make sure to do that. This is an important step. Coat it really well. Then you will need another pan to put on top of this. And what I used was my Pamper Chef stone, pizza stone, and I just put that right on top because it was heavy. The reason you do this is because those flaps will actually pop open while it's baking. Then we're going to put this on 350 degrees for 20 to 30 minutes, depending on your oven. Let that cook, and then we are going to take that pizza pan off, set your oven on broil, and Cook this maybe 3 minutes or so on broil, just so it browns all nice. And voila, it's done. And you can see where it leaked in the pan a little bit there. It seeped out of one of the corners. But y'all, this is so good. My husband and I love this recipe. This is a quick, easy go-to meal. And actually, I made this when I got home from work. And I thought I would cut into this for you. I just used a pizza roller for that. And I wanted to show you what the inside looks like. And voila. And we topped this with some sour cream. My husband dipped his in some salsa. But y'all, this is so yummy. This is definitely a keeper.